We are once again back on our journey to see what Nintendo has in store for us in this Nintendo Direct this summer, which might just happen next week. And of course, we gotta continue talking about what big surprises await us, and the next big surprise has to do with Link and Zelda and their brand new adventure in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel. So today we're gonna predict how likely it is that we see this game and what exactly we get to see and what big information Nintendo can give us about this game finally at this year's Summer Nintendo Direct, as the game is looking like it's slated to come out in the beginning of next year, 2023. So let's start our predictions and talk about what we could see this year from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Breath of the Wild 2 was revealed almost exactly 3 years ago in 2019 in the Nintendo E3 conference, and the world went crazy seeing Zelda and Link traverse that cave and find what looks to be the corpse of Ganondorf, the evil Demon King. Since this last 3 years, we really haven't gotten any real updates on the game. We did get one more trailer just a year ago at the 2021 E3 press conference, but that was it, and the trailer really didn't show us much at all. We know that Link has a new outfit, he's going to be in the sky a lot more, and the world below is still the same with very similar enemies, and oh yeah, he has this weird arm now that allows him to do these weird things like rewind time and also like shoot himself through the bottoms and the tops of platforms and go through them in this weird liquid state. But like I said, we really just don't know what's going on here. Like I said before, the game was slated for later this year, but now got pushed back into the beginning of 2023 next year. So with that said, at first it looked like we were going to get a lot of information about this game this year at E3. Could that have changed? Or does Nintendo still have plans to show us stuff up their sleeves? I will never forget Breath of the Wild's reveal, because at this time I was just now becoming a huge Zelda fan. I played a couple of games, but now I was wanting to play every single Zelda game before this game came out, and I did. That's besides the point. This game was shown off for the first time from Miyamoto and Aonuma during the Game Awards. It was a pretty weird way to show this game off without any type of initial trailer, and it kind of reminds me of Sonic Frontiers, but obviously this went through a lot better than what that game's going through right now. But they just kind of showed us some natural gameplay of Link running around and doing stuff in the world, which we haven't really gotten any of this within the sequel so far. So it is very interesting, and it gets me wondering. For instance, this was shown off years before the game actually was even made available, before we even got more information about it. But then at the Game Awards again, Bill Trinen and Nate Bildorf actually did cover the game some more, showing off some more actual gameplay of Link running around a jungle and entering what looked like a temple at the time, and you know, we sure to find out that that wasn't a temple, but it was a cool little cave with some secrets, and it was a lot of fun to watch this and just see some natural gameplay, once again, still some time before the game was actually going to even drop. But rewinded even more to the summer of 2016. Man, I remember this. Nintendo had announced ahead of time that this E3 was going to be different. There were no other games that Nintendo wanted to announce, and they just wanted to spend the entire E3 show dedicated to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. A lot of people were bummed. We wanted to see more games. We wanted to see Mario and all types of other characters appear, but all we got was Zelda. And yes, it was worth it. It was an amazing showcase showing Link just running around this open world doing whatever he wanted, and it was so much fun. I even loved watching the entire treehouse, just watching all the crazy things and physics that this world had and things that Link could do. It was so cool. Who would have thought literally only one game would have been enough to cover an entire E3 presentation for Nintendo and work as successful as it did? But what's interesting about this in 2016 is the fact that this was shown off right at E3 when the game was coming out the next year in around the same time frame we're in now, where the game's coming out next spring, it looks like. We're in that exact time frame where we are probably within that gap where we can get a full onslaught of Breath of the Wild 2 news at any time. So since we're in that same time frame, what are the odds that Nintendo could actually have not even a blowout, but at least just another trailer for Breath of the Wild at this showcase? Well, let's talk about it. One thing that we have to remember is that during that time in 2016, the Wii U was dead. Like, it was over. This was the only game that they had left coming for it until we realized that it was also coming to the brand new console, the Nintendo Switch. They had nothing else to talk about, so it made sense for them to cover nothing but Breath of the Wild. But with this year, obviously the Switch is still going strong, even if there is a powerful, better version of the Switch coming in later. they still are doing really good, and there's still probably multiple different Switch games ahead. And they're probably not going to focus on Breath of the Wild, I think we know that. But that doesn't mean they're not going to cover Breath of the Wild 2 at all. One thing that Nintendo Directs love to do is say that the games that are showcased within the Nintendo Direct of the summer or the E3, whatever it may be that year, are going to focus on that year's games. It's going to focus on this year's 2022 titles, but you know Nintendo loves to talk about things to come in the next years because they have to kind of get a schedule started. They have to get something that people are excited about and people are excited to play. And there are a lot of games they could do this with, but Breath of the Wild 2 is one of those games that's already announced for next year, and it's early next year at that. I feel like they're almost, they kind of have to show something of this game. And I know a lot of people are going to say, didn't they already have multiple trailers? The trailers that they showed already just didn't really give us any insight really about the game. We don't know anything about the story, anything about the new gameplay, any new combat, weapons, any new enemies, new bosses, any dungeons at all, and not even the title of the game. And I feel like if this game is coming out literally in the beginning of next year, we have got to get some information soon. And even if Nintendo wants to wait till later this year to give more information about this game, like extensive gameplay, maybe even have a Treehouse Direct thing where people come in and play, or just a Breath of the Wild 2 Direct where they talk about the game more, I feel like they still need a new trailer before getting to that point. They need a trailer kind of showing off what the title of the game is, what is the release timing, the window of it, what's the story, what are the characters, what are the enemies, what's different about this game, what makes Breath of the Wild 2 different from the first game. I need a trailer just like the one we got in that January presentation, and I know it was just a couple of months before the game actually released, so we're probably still far away from a trailer like that, but just show me something, because right now, I hate to say it, this game is looking like a giant DLC expansion, if anything. Like, we don't know what's going on in this game, and of course, that's just because we don't know. Nintendo needs to show us what makes this game different, and just getting out a trailer at E3 could be huge. So as much as I think Nintendo should definitely show a trailer at this show, I'm going to say it's a 50-50. I say exactly 50% chance that we see The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild here, because maybe Nintendo has another game that they want to make it the big game of the show. Maybe it's a Mario game, maybe it's a new Donkey Kong game, maybe it's Metroid, I don't know. And there is a chance that they could just have some Zelda ports of Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD on the Switch, and that's their Zelda for the year. I get that, they definitely could do that, and that is why I'm going 50%. There is a 50% chance that we see The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel at this year's Summer Nintendo Direct. But of course, let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things The Legend of Zelda and all things Nintendo in general. And with that, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.